Hi guys, and welcome to Escape with Watch Reviews. My name is Steve, and today we're going to be reviewing the latest version of the Boderry Seaturtle. I received this watch for free from the Boderry official site. I don't have to send the watch back, but you guys know the deal by now. It's not going to sway my review one way or the other. You're always going to get my honest opinion on this watch channel. And if by the end of this review you want to pick one of these up, I'll be leaving a link down in the video description. That takes you right to the Boderry official website, and you can see all the different color options they have for this watch. The retail price for this is $149 in titanium. You can also get this in CUSNA bronze for an extra $10. That's before any taxes, sales, or coupons or anything like that. So yeah, go to the website, check it out. There are some sold out models, so keep that in mind. The watch comes in 15 different colorways. Some of them you can see here on screen. There's still some other ones that I wasn't able to fit on that in that thumbnail, so go check them out. Yeah, there's lots and lots of different color ones. Like I said, some of them are already sold out. Some of them are still available. So go check that out. This one here that you're looking at, this is the sea blue colorway. So on this model, the watch case is made of titanium. It has a sapphire crystal, a screw-down crown, a screw-down case back, 100 meters of claimed water resistance, and the watch is powered by the Seiko NH35 automatic movement. So when this watch arrived, immediately I was drawn to that dial. The dial is kind of crazy. The lume is kind of crazy too, which we'll talk about later. But on top of that, it is under 12 millimeters thick, which is very impressive for a 100-meter dive watch with the NH35. So this watch and the Roland F023, those two watches are right at or under 12 millimeters thick, and they've kind of spoiled me for anything else with an NH movement. I see no reason to have a watch be over 12, maybe 12 and a half I can excuse, but that's kind of my benchmark going forward. So yeah, I think the watch is great. It wears great. It's super lightweight. I say we get right into this full review, but before we do a quick wrist check today. Wearing the new San Martin SN0115, I believe, in that kind of green olive colorway. Looks really, really good. I like it a lot. Review for this one will be coming very soon. All right, so let's talk about the dimensions on this thing. So we've got a bezel diameter of 40.6 millimeters. We got a case thickness of 11.8 millimeters. We've got 20 millimeter lug width. Lug tip to lug tip of 48.2 millimeters. And on the supplied rubber strap, weighs 81 grams. So I think the size of this thing is just fine. I got no issues with it. It's kind of your traditional dimensions, 40 by 48. Like I said though, under 12 millimeters thick, 11.8 millimeters with the NH35. That is very impressive. I know there's some thinner cases out there, but this is the thinnest one that I've come across in a complete NH35 watch. So very impressive with this thing. It does kind of wear flat, as you can see here. There's no curvature to the lugs, but it's super lightweight. That 80 some odd grams for the weight, that includes this strap. The strap is actually pretty heavy. The strap weighs just under 30 grams itself. So the watch head itself is not very heavy at all. So it just makes for a very, very comfortable wearing experience. So I'm going to go outside right now and throw this on my wrist for you. And here it is on my 7.5 inch wrist. And I mean, top down, it kind of wears as I would expect it to wear. It wears very much like a sub homage. But yeah, I think the thinness of this thing is just amazing. Really, really happy with the thinness of it. It is a very flat case, but still doesn't wear too bad on me. The strap is super comfortable too. We'll talk about that in a little more detail later on. But yeah, very happy with this thing. Even underneath this this oak tree that I'm usually struggling, not a big deal. I don't think there's much anti-reflective coating on this crystal, but it's just a flat sapphire, so it doesn't really need it in my opinion. You can see lots and lots of light play off the hands and off the bezel. Yeah, looks really good. Here we are in just a little bit different lighting, trying to get some sun real quick here. The sun is kind of behind a cloud, but you can see there it struggles to focus on the dial, which means it is lacking some AR coating. But again, it's not really that big of a deal. I think this is a fairly legible dial for being so busy. It still does pretty good even under the crystal. So yeah, I think you guys are going to like this one. All right, let's go throw it on a couple straps and we'll get back to this review. And here we are on a black rubber strap, which again, it's going to look good on this watch. It's black and blue and black and tealish. Yeah, it looks really good in my opinion. Super comfortable, super lightweight. Even the ducks approve. So I did want to just mention real quick, Boderry did drill 2 lug holes there, so No issues with straps on this thing. Very happy with that. Usually you use the ones closer to the case for actual straps and then the ones further away for the pass-through strap. So I'm going to throw this on a pass-through strap using those further holes right here, and yeah, you can see how it wears. And here we are lastly on a double pass nylon strap. This is the Cincy Strapco SF2 in Admiralty Gray. You can also see there you caught maybe a little bit of actual direct sunlight on this dial. It does look really good in this combo here. 2 layers underneath the watch there, and it still wears very thin on wrist. So super lightweight, super comfortable. All right, let's go back inside. Let's get back to this review. All right, so let's talk about the case finishing on this thing. The case itself is fully brushed, as you can see here. Really nicely done, though. So I like the fact that they didn't bead blast this one. It's got some nice brushing, very fine brushing, consistent, and I think it looks pretty good. You can see here horizontal brushing on the case sides. Again, really nice kind of satin brushing. It looks nice. It looks really nice. They executed well. Even this little area here, which is sometimes an issue for some companies, it still looks pretty good in there. So overall, I am very satisfied with it. You got your Boderry signed crown here, nice and big crown, very grippy. It's kind of a bead blasted crown and kind of has some odd scalloping to it. So it's not just a normal looking crown. It does have some design flair to it, and I think the Boderry logo is really nicely embossed on there. I think it looks excellent. So very happy with the crown on this thing, very happy with the crown action as well. So flipping it over to the case back here, you can see a screw down case back, really nicely done. It's kind of got that sea turtle look into it. It kind of confused me at first as to what it was, but it's really nicely done. Kind of this bead blasted background, polished on the raised parts. I think it looks really good. I believe the case back is also titanium. You've got a circular brushing around the outside here where the spec sheet is. Again, really nicely done. Very high quality. It almost has that kind of iridescent look to it. But yeah, really happy with that. The one thing I don't like about it is this kind of multi-sided, multifaceted way of locking it. If you ever want to get into this case back, you're going to have to use a special tool or hopefully, a rubber ball or sticky duct tape or something like that will get it off. So yeah, I wish they would have just stuck to normal notches, but other than that, it's fine. The bottom of the lugs are circular brush there, and again, nicely done, nothing fancy here. And you can see here, even this bottom edge of the case here has a really nice little tiny chamfer there, something I think all OEMs should do. It just softens up the case just a little bit without physically changing the appearance of it. So yeah, really happy with that. It is a super comfortable watch to wear. So let's talk about the bezel on this thing. So we have a ceramic bezel insert, which is fully Lume there. You do have a Lume pip there at the 12 o'clock, and it is slightly raised up, so there's some chance that can get knocked off. The bezel itself, again, I'm not sure if it's titanium or steel. I'm guessing it's titanium, but you can see all these kind of teeth here are fully polished, and then in between the gears, or in between the teeth there, you have a kind of a bead blasted finish. I think it looks pretty good. It's very aggressive, very tooly-like, so plenty of grip on this thing. The bezel itself is a 120 click unidirectional bezel. You can see here, there's really no play at all. Very happy with it. The alignment is spot on. Yeah, it's good. It's kind of light feeling, as you would expect from a titanium watch, a light sounding, I should say. The resistance is actually pretty good. It could be a little bit higher, I think. And as I'm going around, I do feel a couple little spots where, like right here, it's super smooth, and then it does start to kind of catch on itself a little bit towards the end. It's right there. So the bezel isn't perfect, but the bezel, it's actually pretty good. So I'm overall very satisfied with the bezel on this thing. All right, so let's talk about the crystal. First things first, we will test it for sapphire. You can see there, it is positive for sapphire. So we've got a dead flat piece of sapphire crystal. There's no anti-reflective coating that I could see on it. They don't call it out in the spec sheet. I'm not saying there is any. So you can see it does sit just ever so slightly above the bezel there. But it's a nice crystal. Again, when it's a flat sapphire crystal, I usually have no complaints about it. It doesn't need anti-reflective coating. Obviously, it would be nice if it had it, but yeah, it doesn't really need AR coating in my opinion. I haven't really found this thing to be hindered by the flat crystal. So the crystal is not offensive, but it's definitely not like an added bonus to the watch either. All right, so let's get to the star of the show, and that is the dial on this thing. The dial is really unique, very, very cool. The first thing that you're drawn to is that kind of honeycomb pattern and the backdrop there. The lines on the honeycomb are actually lumed, so that is lumed with a C3 Superluminova. Really interesting. So those glow green, everything else glows blue. So you have your bezel insert, which glows, and then all the applied indices also glow with a blue glow. You can see here, pretty nicely applied triangle at the 12 o'clock, batons at 6 and 9, and then you've got your octagon shapes at all the other hour markers except the 3 o'clock, which is a nicely framed date window. So pretty satisfied with that. You also do have a tiny little index there. So yeah, the setup on this thing is done very nicely. Everything seems to be aligned nicely. The printing is done nicely, even though it's printed over that hex pattern. The printing is done pretty nicely. You got your Boderry at the 12 o'clock position, red Seaturtle there at the 6 o'clock position, automatic 100 meters. So yeah, overall I am satisfied with the dial on this thing. It's really interesting. One thing I will note is the rehout depth. So the rehout, if you're unaware, is the distance between the dial and the crystal. Super shallow on this one. Very satisfied with that. It looks excellent. It looks really good. The handset that they chose for this, again, kind of those Seamaster style hands. You got your broad arrow hour hand there, faceted nicely. Same thing with the minute hand, kind of just your sword minute hand. Really nicely done, good size. And yeah, then you've got your hex counterbalance on the second hand there, reaching right out to the minute track. I've got no issues with the handset on this thing. I think they chose a good one. It kind of goes with the design, in my opinion. I think it looks nice. Legibility of the handset could be a little bit better, but for the most part, you know, right now you're seeing the hex pattern really prominent. In most lighting, it just kind of disappears a little bit. Obviously, I can't really show it to you under my studio lights, but yeah, it does kind of fade away, and the hands really kind of stand out. So yeah, legibility is actually pretty good. So let's talk about the Lume. So I'm going to pop up a Lume shot right now. Here you can see it against a couple other watches in the collection. You can definitely see that the hex pattern fades pretty quickly, followed by the dial indices. The hands and the bezel, they do hang on pretty good, but the lume on this thing is not great, but it's not terrible either. It's definitely kind of a party trick with the hex there that obviously fades pretty quickly, and it does actually hinder the legibility at night a little bit. So yeah, I really wish they would have just focused on really good lume on the dial instead of kind of this gimmick of the hex pattern. All right, so let's talk about the movement in this thing. So the movement, like I mentioned earlier, is the Seiko NH35. It hacks, hand winds, got about 40 hours of power reserve, dual directional winding rotor, so you don't hear the rotors whirling around. Really happy with the movement. I've got no issues with it. One of the main drawbacks to that was increase in case thickness, but obviously being under 12 millimeters thick, that is not an issue here. So yeah, very satisfied with the movement in this thing. Here's how mine has been running, which is just excellent, incredible. One of the better watches, one of the better NH35s I've ever had. So really happy with the watch accuracy and the movement in general. It's been great. I've got no issues with it. It is operated by this 3 o'clock screw down crown here. Really smooth screw out action, just buttery smooth screw out action. First position is your hand winding. Second position is where you change your date. You can see that there. The date window is nicely framed, nicely centered. It looks good. Pulling it out to the third position, that's where you hack your movement here, and this is where you set your time. Everything functions as it should, as you would expect it to when you, the crown here, nice and solid, and there's not really much wobble to it. Pushing it in, starts up the second hand right away every time. No issues there. The screw in action, it's one of those crowns where while you're screwing it in, you are winding the movement, but it is just buttery smooth. Really happy with the crown on this thing. And that crown, the design of the crown is actually pretty cool as well. I really do like that. Lots and lots of grip. It's a good size. Yeah, no issues with the crown or the movement. All right, so let's talk about the strap on this thing. So strap is excellent. Really happy with the strap. It's that kind of fluoro rubber, super flexible. It does have some density to it, so it is pretty thick and pretty heavy. Like I mentioned, it weighs just about 30 grams on its own. So yeah, but it's a very nice rubber strap. You can see here kind of a really cool, almost like a fabric texture here. Looks good. Looks really good. I like the length of it. The length is good. You got one floating keeper, one kind of stationary keeper. It's held in with these little notches here. The buckle itself, I'm not sure if that's titanium or steel. It doesn't really matter. It's a good buckle. Yeah, brushed and polished with the Boderry logo there. Very happy with that. And to top it all off, quick release spring bars. Again, very happy with that. I like it a lot. Yeah, I do really like the strap, and I'm going to mention this one more time. It does have 2 holes for spring bars. So typically a normal strap will use this hole here, and then pass-through straps will use that hole there. Really nice attention to detail. Yeah, very happy with the strap and the strap setup overall. So yeah, they chose a really good strap. I want to find some more of these ones. All right, guys, so there you go. That is the Boderry Seaturtle, brand new one with the NH35. They kept the same case thickness, which is very impressive. It's a thin, lightweight titanium dive watch with 100 meters of water resistance. A really cool party trick with the Lume. The dial is interesting. It's an original design. Yeah, the strap is very good. The accuracy of the movement is very good. There's not a whole lot to complain about with this one, guys. $150 US. You're getting a heck of a watch, in my opinion. If you're looking for a titanium diver, this should be on your list. And they do have some really cool designs. So go check them out, guys. I think that's it for me. Thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. See ya.